Hi everyone, it's Erin from the Provincial Farmhouse. In today's video, we're doing some more French country thrift flips for Christmas. For my first project, we're going to be working on these two little plastic reindeer ornaments that I picked up at the thrift store. They also had some twine hangers on them. My first step is to give them 2 coats of Dixie Belle's Buttercream Chalk Mineral Paint. Now you could definitely take these outside and spray paint them if you felt like that might be easier for you, but I love using chalk paint, and we're also going to be layering some glaze over the top of this. So this is going to be a really great base with lots of texture. Just a reminder that you can find a full product list in the description below, and most of these products on our website, theprovincialfarmhouse.com.au. Once my paint has completely dried, I'm going to seal it with Paint Couture's Extreme Guard Satin Top Coat. This is going to seal my paint in and protect it, but it's also going to be a great base for our glaze in the next step. Once that top coat is completely dry, I'm going to be using Paint Couture's Light Brown Sugar Glaze. I haven't used this one before. I'm very excited to try it. So I'm going to get a little bit on my brush, and I'm just going to apply it and work it into all of the details on that reindeer ornament. We're going to get a nice coat of this all over, and then I'm going to be using a paper towel and also a baby wipe to wipe back the excess. But I'm going to leave most of it in the details, and I really am going for like a vintage look. I actually want these to almost look like weathered wood. I know they're plastic, but it is amazing what paint can do. So I'm going to cover the whole thing, and then I'm coming in with that paper towel first and wiping back some of that excess. I'm wiping, but I'm also dabbing, so just have a play in terms of what's achieving the best look that you're after. And then I also do swap to a baby wipe to just be able to get a little bit more of that back. And again, this is going to be something that you will have to experiment with to see how much you want to take off. There is going to be a couple of sections where I will go back in with my brush to add a little bit more of that product, but again, have a play, see what you like. If you would like to try any of the Paint Couture products that I'm using in my video today, and you are in the US right now, you can get free shipping when you use my affiliate code FARMHOUSE75 on orders of $75 or more. Once my glaze is completely dry on both reindeers, I'm going to add that twine back. This is what they came with. I really love the earthy, natural feel of these. You could always add more of a festive ribbon for this step if you wanted. And here are our finished reindeer ornaments. I'm really happy with how these turned out. I feel like they've been completely transformed with that paint, and that light brown sugar glaze has given it a lovely antiqued feel. Let me know what you think of these in the comments. For our next project, I'm going to be using this lovely little urn or pot that I found at the thrift store. I've already spray painted with Rust-Oleum's Clear Matte Sealer to prime it, and now I'm going to add 2 coats of Dixie Belle's Buttercream Chalk Mineral Paint. Now, the color that it was already wasn't bad, but I do like a bit more of a creamy tone on my projects, and also the chalk paint is going to really help give us some texture, and we are going to be using another Paint Couture glaze today, so I definitely want to have that sitting underneath there so that it can be caught by those lovely colors. Once my paint has completely dried, I am going to seal this with Paint Couture's Extreme Guard Satin Top Coat. This is definitely a good idea if you are planning on using any sort of glaze. It does give you the freedom to wipe back as much or as little as you would like. If you didn't do this step, it might mean that the glaze sinks in too quickly and you aren't able to wipe back as much as you would like. Next, I'm using Paint Couture's Verta Green Antiquing Glaze. This is a lovely dark green tone, and I'm going in and working that product into all of the details on this little urn. There's a lot of crevices and details on this piece that look beautiful with that glaze sunk in. So you can see I'm now wiping back some of that excess. This definitely is giving it a lovely old world look. It's definitely, I think, going to be one of my new favorites to use. It almost reminds me a little bit of moss in a way as well. So I'm going to continue adding that product in sections, and then I will come in with a baby wipe to wipe back the excess. If you don't want to wipe back as much, a paper towel definitely takes back less product. I quite like the moisture that using the wet wipe brings because it does help that product to spread, but again, depends what look you're after. I feel like this green is going to be perfect for Christmas, but if this look wasn't for you, you could use an antiquing glaze instead, something of a brown tone. It would definitely still give you that aged effect. Something else that you could use is, of course, some sort of an antiquing wax, or if you want to get this look but you don't have this product, in the meantime, you could create a paint wash with a green paint, just water it down, and again, pop that top coat underneath so that you can wipe back as much as you want. Once my glaze is dry, we can move on to the next step. I got these trees from Kmart Australia. They're very similar to the trees that you guys have from the Dollar Tree, I believe it's called. I'm just going to unscrew the base of the tree, and I'm just double checking that I am happy with the size of it sitting in the pot. I think it's going to look great, but first I want to add some of this lovely red velvet ribbon. So I'm just going to wrap it around my little urn and work out how much I'm going to need. Once I've worked out what I need, I'm going to trim it off. Once I have the amount I need, I'm going to tie just a very simple bow. You could, of course, go a lot more elaborate here, but I feel like the shape of this urn is just beautiful and elegant. I didn't want to overwhelm it with adding an extra element and putting it over the top. So I'm just going to tie that simple bow, and once I've done that, I will simply sit the tree in the urn. I'm not going to glue it in just in case I want to change it up. And here's a look at the finished project. I'm really happy with how this turned out. That Verta Green glaze is absolutely beautiful. I could definitely see myself using it a lot in the future. Next, while I have the bottle brush trees out, I'm going to show you these lovely little brass candlesticks that I thrifted. I'm going to add these smaller bottle brush trees to them. Now, I am going to be using hot glue to attach mine because then I can heat that back up and remove it if I want to take the trees out. If you wanted, you could add some floral foam in the base of it or just sit them in there if you think they're going to balance. So I'm just going to add that hot glue and position the trees in place until I'm happy with how they look. And here's how they turned out. I'm definitely having a lot of fun finding things to put those bottle brush trees in. Let me know what you think of this in the comments. For our final project today, I'm going to be using this frame that I thrifted. I did want to take the glass and everything out from the center, but I just could not get it to work, and I didn't want to accidentally break the glass, so we're going to work with it in today. I'm then going to be using Dixie Belle's Buttercream Chalk Mineral Paint as my base, and I'm going to give this frame one coat over the entire piece. Next, I'm going to be adding this piece of Would You Bend. I will link this design in the comments. Now, unfortunately, this was a little broken piece, so I definitely want to use it on my project today. When you're using Would You Bend, you first need to heat it up with a hairdryer so that it becomes flexible and malleable. So I like to heat it up on one side and then I flip it over and I heat up the other side. I really don't recommend that you try gluing it down without doing this step. I'm then going to grab my Sealy's Quick Set wood glue. I picked this up got from Bunnings Australia. I'm putting it all over the back, and then I'm going to position it up the top of my photo frame, and I'm just going to maneuver it until I have it sitting exactly where I want. I'm also going to be grabbing out my hairdryer again. It's a good idea to heat it up again while you have it in position. This helps it to mold to your surface, but it also helps that glue to dry a little bit quicker. Next, I'm going to grab that little piece that broke off. I've added some glue to the back of it, and now I'm going to put it in position. As you can see, once we have it in place, you really can't tell that it's broken, and I'm of course heating that up as well. Next, I'm going to add another coat over the entire frame, paying particular attention to that Would You Ben mold. I'm making sure that I'm working that paint into all of those details. Now, I did use a Would You Ben piece, but you could definitely use a mold and some clay, or you could use some resin in your molds to add some sort of a detail to the top of the frame. Adding this just really takes your project to a whole new level instead of it just being a plain frame from the thrift store. I did think about adding Christmas specific molds to this frame, but I thought it would be good to have the option to have other artworks in this instead when it's not Christmas season. When my paint is completely dry, I'm going to seal it with Paint Couture's Extreme Guard in the color Satin. Again, we are going to be using some glaze. I'm definitely having a lot of fun with these. They are new in store. And once that is completely dry, I'm going to grab that light brown sugar out again, and we are going to apply it to the entire frame. This has a lot of little crevices in the frame, and it's amazing how when you add a glaze, it really brings out those details, particularly also that Would You Ben detail. I'm going to make sure that I really work it in to the details in that mold, and it's going to bring those out beautifully. If you don't have access to glaze, you could definitely use some sort of a dark wax for this step instead. Just remember to pop a clear wax down first so that you can wipe back as much as you want. Next, I'm going to grab a wet wipe and I'm going to start wiping back some of that excess. You can see that I am still allowing it to sit in the crevices on the frame. It's really highlighting those beautiful details. And also when I go over the top of the details on that Would You Ben, I'm still letting it sit down into those crevices. Once that glaze was completely dry, I grabbed Paint Couture's Champagne glaze. This is a metallic glaze, and I'm going to go over the top of the Would You Ben detail that we added, and I'm also going to run some of that product over the rest of the frame. This is going to be a very subtle look. I wanted to give our frame a little bit of a sheen, a little bit of sparkle. It is Christmas after all. This was a subtle but effective way to add that. When my glaze is completely dry, I'm going to grab this Christmas Carols book that I thrifted, and I'm going to select one of the pieces of music in this one, and I did end up deciding on Joy to the World. I'm going to carefully pull that design out of the book. I'm not going to cut anything off it just in case I want to take it out and use it in another project, but as you can see, it's going to fit really nicely. So I'm going to tear that out of the book, but as I said, I'm not going to cut it. I'm just going to fold that excess paper down the bottom so that if I want to use the other side, for example, I can just smooth that out. So I folded it over, and then I'm going to position it in the back and put the backing back on. Any excess paint that I have around the side, I will get some sandpaper and I will sand that off to tidy up the back of the frame. I'm also going to add another hanger to the top so that we can have this hanging in portrait style. And here's our finished project. This was a pretty quick and easy flip, but it's definitely effective. It would make beautiful decor for your home or as a gift. I really hope that you've enjoyed today's video and that it's given you some more ideas on how you can take your thrifted finds and turn them into beautiful home decor for the festive season. Let me know if you had a favorite project from today. If you enjoyed today's video, I would really appreciate it if you would hit that like button, comment, and share it out. If you haven't already, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of our videos. You can find the products used today on our website, theprovincialfarmhouse.com.au. Thanks for watching.